like it took off and it felt cartoonish fast
Right.
to me.
Yeah.
It really did. Like my eyes couldn't, like it was moving so fast, like my eyes couldn't process what was happening, and it felt like I had blurry vision for
Yeah.
a second.
I know.
Like, and
Uh,
I just say not doing it since 2018. Like you forget that that's a thing,
oh yeah.
and like you get halfway down the track, like holy crap, like where am I?
Right.
What's going on?
How
Like,
did I get here? like,
right,
like
yeah,
when you drive home super tired and you're like, damn, how the hell did I get home?
right. Yeah, where you wait, you're like on the way to work, and you like, how am I in the hammer lane?
Right.
Like, how did I get here?
Oh,
Like
I
those
know.
early morning commutes or
Yes.
whatever.
I always get the best sleep
Yeah,
when I
see,
drive.
yeah. All right, Adam, we've been struggling with how are we going to start these episodes off, and I made a joke a couple weeks ago that we would do this, that we would talk about what we won't talk about on an episode to start it out. So on today's episode, what we're definitely not talking about are bears or hush money trials.
Sounds good to me.
So, okay, perfect. So with that, welcome to the Automotive Misconduct Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dustin.
I'm the other. I'm Adam.
All right. So today, what we will talk about is what's been going on with our cars. Hopefully, you've seen our video that we posted earlier this week about our track day at Mid-Michigan Motorplex.
Yep.
And the passes that we made.
It went okay for me. Ran into some issues even before we got there. The week before, I was coming home from a car show in Birch Run, and noticed the car just running kind of iffy, just under part throttle. It idled fine, and
Yeah.
wide open throttle was okay, but just part throttle, light acceleration, car just AFR jumped all over, wanted to surge, almost like a stuck injector issue. But kind of spent the better part of the first that week, last week, just trying to figure that issue out, and to the point where I almost gave it up and didn't go to the track.
Almost bowed out.
Yeah, but Tony let me borrow the O2 sensor out of his car and gave me his set of injectors since we both use the same injectors. Obviously, the O2 sensor being the easiest thing to jump into, I changed that out, and thankfully it fixed the issue, so we were able to get to the track.
Amazing what the car can do when it knows what's going on, huh?
Yeah, it was just, I say it's been like 2 or 3 days just going back and forth trying to figure this damn thing out, but we ended up getting to the track. For me, it was kind of a subpar situation. Usually, my car, I don't know, it hooks on almost anything, but I really struggled with getting the car to leave, even turn down. I mean, almost leaving on gate spring, which for me is 6 psi, with a 2.5 second ramp, and it was still knocking the tire pretty bad about 30, 40 foot out.
Yeah.
Track just wasn't there for myself, but in hindsight, it is a huge bracket race where 99.9% of the cars are slick tire cars. So the prep was a little different than what I was hoping for, as you know, slick prep is majorly different from radial prep. But other than that, I mean, the car performed great. I couldn't be upset with that. I was able to go, even with a 1.6 60 foot, I was able to get a 9.5 at 153 and change. So, which is over 2 mile an hour faster than I went last year. And I was on 3 pounds less boost. So that's really promising.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean,
And I was in kind of crappy air too.
yeah, it was almost 3,000 DA. So I was, I mean,
Yeah.
ultimately, I mean, yeah, obviously we're trying to chase that elusive 8. Like there's another YouTube channel there. Some of you may know Mr. Cletus McFarland. And you notice on a lot of his videos, like they are a full second faster trying to chase the 7 second passes or even into the sixes, and they always seem to get hung up and run like a string of like
Right.
8 O's, 7 O's before it finally happens. So I wouldn't expect any less from our YouTube channel. So
Right.
we'll get it. We'll
Yeah.
get it though, and
Oh, yeah. No, there was such a tease that 800 or sorry 900 with a two, or
yeah,
I think it was.
yep.
But by luck, we'll get there at some point.
Yeah, if I could just put the front half with the back half, it'll go there for sure. I mean, it's got the mile an hour for I mean, maybe even an 80. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Sure. I was the one that edited the video,
Yeah.
so I can say I watched it several times clearly,
Mhm.
and you could hear your car struggling for traction.
Yeah.
I guess I won't give a distance like you can watch it yourself,
Right.
but you can see even, I mean, well past the tree,
Yeah.
you can hear the car just struggling.
Yep.
So you did pretty well for what traction was available. That's for sure.
As if you remember last episode, we talked about my torque box issue, and so
Hmm.
I had that like on my mind pretty bad. The first pass, like hoping and praying that thing stayed attached. So
Right.
I get to the line after after my burnout pull up, and you know that you had to actually press the trans brake button for the trans brake to actually activate. Well, I didn't.
Right.
I didn't do that. So it's starting to, trying to build boost on just foot brake. And by the time I remembered, it was already too late. I grabbed the button and my two step obviously activates off that. My boost ramp, my boost curve activates off that. Everything activates off my trans brake. So it was trying to
Yeah.
command 24 pounds of boost on the trans brake, and it was just an absolute disaster. My first pass, but was that once I actually launched the car and it made it down the track, it kind of eased my mind with the whole torque box issue. So that thing's pretty solid. I checked it when we got back and jumped under there, and everything seemed attached still. So that put that kitty to bed, and
Right.
thank goodness, and not have to worry about that anymore. At least until I'm comfortable with it now, and until winter when we can address it later on. But I'm comfortable with our fix with that. So
Right.
yeah,
No, that's the main thing, right? Keep you in the car in one piece.
right.
So yeah, at
Uh,
least that part went
yeah.
well.
So even though it was kind of some crappy, passes to begin with, like at least the end of the day, I was able to go 2 mile an hour faster with 3 to 4 pounds less. The dome pressure issue is fixed. Uh, Converter issue seems to be addressed. Like I'm only getting like before I was getting even on 24 pounds, I was seeing 1200 RPM drop on the shift, and now I'm roughly 4 to 500. So it's like this
Hmm.
converter change. The
Right.
converter change is bar none helped out tremendously. So we're good on all aspects of that. So I mean, definitely a good track outing when you can see progress and know things are working as they should.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it seems to have worked out great. I guess next would be working with your bump box so you can
Yes, that's
stage it properly and do wheel to wheel
yep.
racing. So that the new converter should help out with that immensely, I'm sure.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, even coming up, I was spending like 6 seconds on the brake trying to get this thing up to, onto the two step even, and I'm down to like 3 4 seconds now. So it dang near cut it in half. It's got a simple stage in it for my bump box, and just haven't dialed it in yet. Seems like I'm always in a rush, but that's definitely going to be completed before the next track outing. I mean, 100%. That way there I can
Yeah.
actually stage the car correctly. So that will be addressed before we go back to the track.
Well, you've had bigger fish to fry, kind
Right.
of to your point,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And like all this stuff just happens over
Hmm.
time and, progress and whatnot.
Yep.
So now it's the priority.
Right.
So fantastic,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yes, sir. yours went pretty well. I mean, I was, I know you were kind of, but man, I tell you what,
Yeah,
I don't know, seeing that car back at the track, just seeing you, the car, the track, like that was enough for me. You didn't have to make, you could have made a 35-second pass and I would have been freaking ecstatic.
right,
Like,
right. No, I get it. Yeah, and for the most part, yeah, it went well. Like the car pushed itself back on the trailer at the end of the day, and it's still running. And
mhm,
I don't have anything super alarming about it. Like we said, the air was kind of bad, so I mean that's one thing, and it was mostly full weight. I mean, I guess I had the skinnies on the front. That's really the
right.
only thing that I did for like weight reduction, so to speak.
Hmm.
Um, so my best run was a 12.4, which was really rough when you're coming from an 11.668 as a PB. But um, like you said, just getting out there and
Yeah.
everything was great, especially the first two passes for me
Hmm.
after not doing it since 2018 was like I was just hanging on for dear
You're
life.
like a damn
And
rocket
I
ship.
know, right? Yeah, and
You
I
couldn't tell
know,
me any
I
different.
know that's right. Like I know how pathetic that
Not
sounds,
at all.
but man, like I forgot what it was like,
Hmm.
and just stabbing it and say I have a 10-inch
Yep.
slick on my car, so I had no traction issues. Like it was only doing low 1.760 foots. It's been a 159, but it mostly camps out in the 1.6 range.
Hmm.
But so it was doing low 1.7s. Like it took off and it felt cartoonish fast
Right.
to
Yeah.
me. It really did. Like my eyes couldn't, like it was moving so fast, like my eyes couldn't process what was happening, and it felt like I had blurry vision for
Yeah.
a second.
I know.
Like, and
Uh,
I just say not doing it since 2018. Like you forget that that's a thing,
oh yeah.
and like you get halfway down the track, like holy crap, like where am I?
Right.
What's going on?
How
Like,
did I get here? like,
right,
like
yeah,
when you drive home super tired, and you're like, damn, how the hell did I get home?
right. Yeah, where you wait, you're like on the way to work, and you like, how am I in the hammer lane?
Right.
Like, how did I get here?
Oh,
Like
I
those
know.
early morning commutes or
Yes.
whatever.
I always get the best sleep
Yeah,
when I
see,
drive.
yeah, Whew. Yeah, I've been there. Um, anyway, like the third
Hmm.
pass, I was finally able to like have my bearings enough. Like, okay, I'm gonna watch all the gauges and whatnot, and maybe I can get some sort of clue as to what's going on with this car. And third and fourth gear, like I'm watching the AFR
Hmm.
gauge. I have the pillar pod, like the
Yeah.
hey everybody, my shit's fast pillar pod. Look at me
Yeah.
in my modified car.
Yes.
I totally have that. And so I'm watching, and it's just the AFR is just going down and down and down. In third gear, like it started to drop below the 12.5
Hmm.
that we're looking for, and like by the time it hit fourth and was really pushing
Hmm.
hard, got down to 10.2,
Yeah.
and like I was just dumbfounded. Like I'm clearly trying to get the car stopped
Right.
first, but like after that, when I get pulled into the
Hmm.
pits and see the ET slip, I'm like, clearly these are related because it was only doing like 20 miles an hour on the back half,
Right.
and that car is consistently like 25 plus
Hmm.
over its lifetime. So it felt lazy to me. Like it felt great on the off the launch or whatever. So with the caveat that I haven't
Yep.
raced the track in a long time, but first eighth mile felt pretty good, but then say it started to feel kind of
Yeah.
lazy. So um So you did a 12.4, a 12.5, a 12.6, and a 12.7,
Yep.
like back to back to back. Okay, clearly we know what the car is going to run today,
Yep.
and that's when I put mine up for the night. I don't know if you made a fifth pass or
I
not.
actually made two.
Can't
I
remember.
made back to back passes after that. I ended up making two. I'm
Okay,
trying to get up for a third, but it just didn't have enough time.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll fast forward a bit. Like we'll come back,
Yeah.
but uh, on the way home, got about hour or so into the journey, and I'm like, okay, because you live as close to mid Michigan as I do Lapeer.
Right.
Like Adam is home and probably
I
like
was
getting ready for
I was
bed.
already in bed, to be honest.
Oh shit.
Not
Okay.
sleeping, but I was
Oh,
like,
there you
oh
go.
yeah, this feels great. I'm in bed already. These suckers are still driving
Right.
home.
Right. Then the old phone
Yep.
rings, and I'm like, dude, what in the heck would make this do this? Like, just because it sat for so long or whatever,
Mhm.
and like it ate a battery while it was gone. Like it made a battery go right down to nothing, and I wouldn't accept a
Yep.
charge after that and all that. So I was like, but still, that doesn't make sense about it like wiping out the tune or
No.
anything of that. Like that didn't, like you're grasping for straws and trying to think, and it's like, nah.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, I'm kind of dumbfounded. So I called
Mhm.
you and we started talking, and you said, well, why don't you check the spark plugs? Because last time either one of us could remember them getting changed is when you redid the
Mhm.
engine like 7 years ago,
Yeah.
and I haven't changed them since.
Right.
So I don't know. I haven't looked at them
Right.
at all. Um, I moved the car into the garage, but that was
Right.
it. Like, um, I'm trying to use the car as the productivity hack,
Mhm.
like to get other stuff done around here.
Right.
Like, I won't allow myself to do this until I finish all this other stuff. But I'm basically there.
Yep.
So sometime this week I'll get to it.
Yeah.
We'll see. No promises, but I'm thinking about making a video of that, and
Yeah.
I have some things to go over on the truck as well. So we'll see what that happens. We might have 3 videos this week, which is
Mind blowing.
crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
I bet
But
I bet once you pull those plugs, they're going to be pretty fouled. I bet you that's probably the issue. And plus, like you said, you during the course of those past couple years since 18, it's been started and idled a little bit just to keep the fluids moving and then shut off. So I'm sure the
right.
plugs are probably completely soaked, but and it makes sense
Yeah.
as to why it would idle fine. First and second gear, it's not really under a heavy load until you get third, and then
Right.
fourth, obviously, would peg rich because
Right.
it's just all unburned fuel at that point from not being burnt. That's
Right.
my
Yeah.
take on it.
Our hypothesis makes total sense to
Yeah.
me. I mean, we'll figure it out. But
And them damn Hemis and their 16 plugs. So it's not like it's just a cheap fix.
right.
Take out a damn loan to
Yeah.
buy plugs.
Right. Yeah. Oh God, for sure. But so I guess we'll see how that goes.
I did notice on like the second, third, it wasn't so much even on the first pass, but like as the passes got on, car was starting to kick out pretty bad in the burnout box, and the left tire decided to not move. I don't know if you noticed
Yeah,
that.
it's definitely on some of the passes more than others.
Hmm.
Um, and we'll talk about our pass
Yeah,
later because that it actually did do fine during that one. Yeah, it's doing a one legger, I
yeah,
guess. Just spinning the right tire, um, which is kind of surprising because it's got that Getrag rear end from a Challenger Super Trackback,
hmm,
and it's supposed to have a limited slip in it, like from the factory.
right,
And the one I got was like a takeout from like basically a brand new car. Like it was sold to me with the idea of it had like 300 miles on it,
Hmm.
150 miles on it, like less than 1,000 miles on it, like
Right.
so even less than 500,
Hmm.
like basically
Brand new.
brand new.
Right.
And I mean, I've put maybe 10,000 miles on it,
Maybe we can.
and I mean, it's had some abuse
Right.
clearly, or racing,
Yeah.
but
I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't like we've done like burnout competitions
Right.
or stuff that would seriously injure the thing.
I don't know. Maybe just we
But
get it on the hoist and do a fluid change in the differential. Pull the drain plug on it and see what the fluid even looks
right,
like. I mean, maybe it just does that use a friction modifier in the fluid, or is it just yeah?
yeah,
Okay. So I mean,
I'm almost
yeah,
certain.
it may just be
Uh,
that
right,
breakdown in the fluid,
yeah, we'll
which
see.
definitely need to address that in the plugs. I think first.
Now that you mention it, like that rear end went in two. I put it in
Hmm.
2013, and I haven't changed the fluid in it since.
Could just be as simple as
So
that.
right,
Maybe
yeah, one of those preventative maintenance is due. Why don't we try that?
absolutely. I mean, we can pull the fluid on it and see what it looks like. I mean, you'll tell right there if it's burnt or not. Which I'm assuming it's
Right,
probably going to be burnt, even just from the slipping that it had there at the track.
right,
I mean, it seemed to launch. I mean, it launched straight, so I mean, it's clearly still working. It just when
hmm,
you come out of the water and get into the dry, it would definitely decide to kick out the left side.
right.
So yeah,
And I can see with it being on slicks,
oh yeah,
like
for sure.
it being that much harder
Hmm.
to manipulate or whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, but other than that, I mean, I bet you if we get closer to even fall as we get the other side of summer, probably. I mean, we can go to the track anytime you want. I mean, we can make passes at any
Yeah,
time. But I think once you get back down into you know September, late
right,
September, October, when they start doing all the fall stuff, I think that's when we can start worrying about pulling weight and really focusing on at least backing up your personal best.
right. It's like you're driving at. It's clearly not the time of year to
Yeah.
trying to be setting the world on fire.
No. No, I agree. And even
Definitely.
with mine, I noticed like when I did the back to back passes, I was kind of worried. I've never ran it back to back in 80-degree weather, so I wasn't sure how the air to air was going to react. And it is just a VS Racing, their race intercooler. So I mean, it's thick. I mean, it's not rated for any
Mhm.
horsepower, and at least on their website. But with the trans was almost 200 degrees, engine was almost 200 degrees, and at 22 pounds out the back, I was only seeing like 135-degree intake temps, which is still, I mean,
Right.
beautiful. Like I have zero squirms about that, so I have no issue making passes in the summertime. If we end up getting like a decent night, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember you coming back to the pits and talking about the higher temps like that, and my wife was right next to me, and she was like, "Is that bad?" I'm like, "Well, it's getting towards
Oh
concerning,
yeah,
but it's not like melting it down or anything.
right.
Like it gets fine. He needs to stop
Yeah,
now."
that's when I need to just take a minute, and me and the
Right,
car need a break.
right.
We were that
But she,
that trans I got from Tony Campbell, and when it was in his
hmm,
Cobra, we were at a test and tune at Milan, and he was on the trans brake. Like another guy was Nate Lane next to him, got on the trans brake too, and his car was taking considerable amount of time to get on the brake. Like Tony was on the trans brake for about 12 seconds, and
oof,
when he made the pass and got back to the pits, like you couldn't touch the transmission. I mean, we always gave Tony crap because he has like a Holly. It's got a Dominator in the car, like Holly Dominator, which is the biggest and baddest ECU you can get for the Holly, and with like a
yeah,
1,400,000 inputs. And he has it's got a
right.
trans temp sensor in the pan, but he just never wired it or hooked it up. which whatever.
Oh shit.
So it was probably for the best because I'm sure that trans was probably close to nuclear meltdown at that point, like to where the
Oh
he
yeah.
just ran hydraulic oil in the trans, and
Hmm.
it come out like melted butter. Like when we because we drained the fluid, and it was, I mean, it melted the drain pan that we bought from O'Reilly's.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that was, I bet, I mean, that is,
Wow. I've never seen that
no,
happen.
I mean, it had been 250, 300 degrees, like borderline flashpoint.
Right.
So,
Oh wow.
so I
Yeah.
wasn't nearly close to that, but still 200-degree trans temps probably is more than I've ever had it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, say why I told her like, yeah, it's not good, but
Yep.
I've I've seen and heard of worse.
Yep.
Yeah. I believe it was your second pass. At least that's how I uh ordered it in the
Hmm.
video against the Tesla.
Yeah.
And right before I started filming, Colin's like, Adam better not lose this. Yeah, like it'd be a lot
If he
funnier
did,
for the channel if he did.
right. Oh,
And unfortunately, you weren't able to close the gap on that boy.
well, actually, I went a 9.5 that pass, and that Tesla ran a 9.6. So,
There you
so
go.
I
Well,
mean, we would
you
have.
you won the test and tune battle.
Well, that's the thing. Even if I'd have left with the car, I mean, it would have been a lot closer than anybody was going to think. You know, I
Right.
mean,
Oh, for sure.
definitely. I mean, I'm here rolling 153 miles an hour, and I look over and there's a freaking Tesla sitting next to my door. I mean, that's not something you'd expect.
No, absolutely not.
Kudos to that guy though for being a cool guy. I guess we know how
Right.
much this channel loves EV. Okay, let's get
Right. Yeah, we're just
uh,
yeah,
no.
we're dinosaurs.
Oh,
It's
oh,
okay.
Elon Musk over there. How you feeling about that guy?
Tested my patience last night. Tested my patience last night trying to edit that damn video, and then the internet go out for an hour when I'm like 95% done.
Hmm.
So I'm like freaking out that I'm gonna lose all of my progress, and I'm like, because this is a halfway decent like video,
Right.
and I spent a long time doing it, and
Uh,
uh,
Not to mention just coming off
so
a 3 week hiatus without internet, living
right,
all
good
primitive over
lord,
there like a bunch of monkeys, like in back in Return of the
right,
Apes. Like, oh,
yeah, freaking that meme was like the Little House on the Prairie
oh my
family,
god,
like when
yes.
the when the Wi-Fi goes out for 10 minutes.
Oh
Oh god,
man, I'm telling you.
absolutely.
Yep.
So we actually ran our cars against each other,
Yep.
and they say there's no friends on the starting line, and I've thought about this, and to a certain extent that's true,
Right.
but like what the way I see it, when like my duty as your friend when I race you
Hmm.
is to give you as honest of a race as I possibly
Right.
can, and that's no starting line horseshit,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean, like making I'm gonna sit back and make him do everything first,
Right.
or
Oh yeah.
anything like that. Like you go up there and you make a pass to the best of your ability,
Yep.
and whatever happens in the other lane is what
Yep.
happens. That's the way I looked at it, and just by like the circumstances of what my car was doing
Hmm.
and what your car was doing, I think we did that.
Yeah. I agree.
And so I think it was good. Like we're gonna do it again. We're gonna have better
Oh
races,
yeah.
and you know what I mean. Like it's not, it's might have been the first time. It won't be the last time. But
Exactly.
you know,
Still cool as hell.
say we've been. Oh yes, that's what I'm driving at.
Yeah.
Is we've been friends since I was my son's age. He's 9,
Yes.
and now we're 39,
Yep.
and now we're finally got the chance. All the circumstances worked out to where we could have our cars on the track at the same
Yep.
time. So that was really cool. Like that was a good, like, I call it a bucket list
Yeah,
moment.
for sure.
And, but we'll have better, more exciting
Yeah.
races as time goes
I gotta
on.
get my win back.
So, right. Yeah. Well, and that's just it, right? Like, you're like, all right, it was what it
Oh
was. I'm
yeah.
not going to be here like,
Hey,
I beat you,
shit. If we
or,
were
none
if
of,
there was a win loss column, that's how it would go. I mean, a win's a win.
right.
Whether you win by an inch or a
Right.
mile, winning's winning.
Right.
Ask any real racer.
Right. Yeah. Ask a racer, any real
Yeah,
racer. Oh
that was
gosh.
fun though.
You know what, we got to get in before we leave. I've been called out twice. And one of them I'll explain is our mutual friend Justin. Kind of, he was more this guy's rival, Jesse.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Jesse. Anyway, Jesse and him and Justin kind of went back and forth for several years. And unfortunately for Jesse, I saw him melt down his motor a couple of times trying to beat Justin.
Yeah.
And so he's no longer a nitrous guy. He's got a white G8.
Mhm.
And so it makes sense, him having a G8 and me having a Charger, both of us being NA, at least at this point, to why not? What the hell?
Yeah.
And I totally get that.
Mhm.
Like, I can't really speak on why Justin and Jesse were rivals.
Right.
I don't
It
know.
just was.
Realistically, like, it's kind of like when you're on a sports team and a player gets traded, they just inherit the rivalries
Yeah.
of whatever their new team is. And so it was one of those where, like, I became Justin's friend, and there was Jesse and James.
Mhm.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't have a damn thing against either one of those guys.
Right.
And at this point, I don't think they do really us
No.
either.
It's just
But it was
good
just,
banter.
yeah, it's just, right. It's just for shits and giggles at this
Yeah.
point. So, I've said yes. I don't know specifically what his car runs these days.
All right.
I know mine needs some work, but we'll get there, and we'll get it in. I'm all for it. It's just a friendly little grudge
Yeah.
race, and I think he's doing it for the same reason I am. It's just, what the
Why
hell,
not?
there's
Yeah.
something to
Why
do,
not?
right? Like, yeah. Um, the other person to call me out, we went to school with.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what he drives.
It's a pick.
Maybe you do.
He's got a LS pickup. Like I think it's a cat. I think it's
Okay.
a cat eye.
I knew it was a
Yeah.
truck. I knew he was a Chevy
Yep.
guy, so I was assuming it was a Duramax, to be perfectly honest.
No, she's a gas engine.
Okay. So, uh, but yeah, I remember he was a couple years younger than us, I believe. At least a year, maybe two. I can't remember
I think
specifically.
he's 2 years. If I remember
Okay.
right.
That's kind of what I thought. But guess he lives down in Florida.
Yep.
And is coming back in August. So we'll see what happens with that. He got on my Facebook and got real excited one day, and called me out and wanted to, like, bet money and everything right away. And I'd be like, chill, bro.
Right.
Like, it's May. You're supposedly coming in August.
Yeah.
We'll work this out in August.
Yep.
But
I actually looked it up, and I couldn't remember what year it was, but it's actually a GMC. That's like it's a standard box, standard cab.
Okay.
But it's like 15 or newer, like 14, 15 area.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
still be a fun little race.
Yeah, we'll see. It was I don't know if he wants us to give out his last name, but Chris.
Yeah.
Uh, but anyway, so yeah, that's kind of my, I guess, dance card for the summer so
Yep.
far. We'll see how that goes. I guess before we go, you want to talk about what you're going to be doing next?
Yeah, and other than camping this weekend with the family, I'll be out of pocket for the week after that. Heading to Six Summer with our friend Brian and his Mustang. Kind of a just a ride along
Hmm.
passenger deal. Pretty. I've always wanted to
Yeah,
at least partake in a drag and drive event. So it's he's
absolutely.
done it. He's done a couple of them actually, and this will be my first one to ride along. So pretty excited about that. But yeah, so we got that coming up. About less than 10 days actually. We're actually going to streetcar
Okay.
takeover at 131.
Okay.
The day we leave, we're gonna meet. We'll go over there Saturday, and he's gonna try to get some stick shift money out of that place and kind of
Uh,
pad the pocket to fund the week long escapade that we've got coming up after that. So
hey,
yeah, I mean it's like $1,500 to
yeah,
win. So
sure. I ain't going to hate on this hustle.
no,
Why not?
right? Yes, sir.
I knew a streetcar takeover was coming up.
Yep.
So I thought about that. And then I've also softly committed to going to an event at Mid Michigan that same weekend. Strangely, Dominic's bus driver
Yeah.
and his buddy run a race at Mid Michigan every year.
Oh, okay.
That's that
Yeah.
weekend. So I told him pencil me in
Yeah.
on that. I guess the thing that would stop me from going to streetcar takeover is like I'm not going to be competitive really in any of the classes other than maybe the 12-0 class, but I'm not probably not going to have the car like
Right.
tested and ready for that in time. So really it would just be I think that would be a spectating
Yeah.
event. And I hate to bail on JW just for a spectator
Oh,
event. So
I don't believe you one bit.
we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But I plan on say working on my car and maybe making a video and the trucks in the garage also. I kind of want to go over what I want to do with that
Hmm.
coming up. And I guess we'll go from there.
Yep. Sounds good to me. Lots of content coming up. Hopefully, we'll get now that I
Yeah.
mean getting full swing with summer here. So no excuses. Only
Yeah.
progress.
Right. And right. Yeah. See, the productivity hack's working.
Yes.
Well, with that, if you made it this far, thanks for watching. If you liked this episode, please like it. If you really liked it, subscribe. And if you didn't like it, tell us why in the comments.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks for hanging out here. We appreciate you guys.